Chapter 16. The Woodshed. In the backyard there was a laundry, garage, outside toilet, also known as the outhouse, and a woodshed. They were all joined together. The woodshed had wood in there that was used to burn for the fireplace and the stove. It was about 2.5 meters wide and long, and maybe 2 meters high. Its walls were made of old fence palings with gaps between them, and it had a flat iron roof. Peter, who was adventurous, soon learnt to climb on the shed roof. As he got older, he would jump off it onto a long, soft pile of grass below. From the shed roof, he could also climb onto the higher roof of the garage. Whenever a ball got on the roof, Peter would climb up and get it. He was not afraid of heights. To cut wood for the kitchen stove, chunks of wood were placed on a stump in an upright position and then chopped with an axe into smaller pieces that could fit into the stove's burner. With their dad watching, Peter and Vula were allowed to chop wood as they got older and stronger. One day, the kids were playing hidey. One of the boys had the good idea to move some wood and make a gap to climb inside the woodshed. It may have been Peter, or maybe it was his best friend Bob. Anyway, for Heidi, Peter, Bob and Jimmy hid inside the woodshed. They had made a little room inside. Vula looked for a long time and couldn't find them. It was a really clever hiding place. This game was repeated over the next 5 weeks, and then, while passing the woodshed, Vula heard some voices. The boys were in the woodshed. When she tried to get in, she found her way blocked by a wall of piled timber. The boys had moved the wood against the walls of the shed and left an empty place in the middle to make a little room. They could relax in there. Inside, they had moved a few pieces of wood to be chairs and a table. They even had 3 glasses of soft drink and some of their footy cards to look at. Now they were in the middle of a game of Monopoly. Vula was amazed as well as impressed. When the boys heard Vula trying to get into their hiding place, they moved some of the wood to the front of the shed to block her way. Then they moved the wood away from the back fence of the shed and got out. They walked along between the neighbour's fence and the back of the shed and garage to get away from Vula. They got away, but she had finally found their hiding place. When Vula heard about her children building a room in the woodshed, she was worried. She told them that it was too dangerous and that the wood could fall on them and hurt or kill them. She said they were not allowed to enter the woodshed again. So, for a long time, the kids kept away from the shed, although Vula often walked past and looked at it very thoughtfully. She was planning to disobey her mum and go in there. A little time later, the hidey game was on again, and the only hiding places Vula could think of were some of the garden bushes. Vula ran out of ideas. The boys had sticks that they used to poke into the bushes. And one exciting time, Peter just missed pushing his stick into Woola's back, but he didn't see her. Woola had looked right into Peter's eyes and felt sure he had seen her, but no, amazingly, he kept moving along, poking here and there, and she was glad she had stayed calm and had not run out of her hiding place to escape the boys. They were getting tired of searching for her. She didn't answer when they called her. The boys soon moved away to the front of the woodshed, calling out that if she was in there, they would tell their mother and she would be in trouble. They even climbed in and had a look, but Woola was not there. When her brothers went around to the front of the house to look for her there, she quickly ran out of her hiding spot in the bush and carefully climbed over the wood into the woodshed. Naughty girl! She made it safer by quietly moving the wood around, and then she stayed there for ages. When the boys got bored and gave up looking for her, she went into the house to find them. "Where have you been?" they asked her, but she refused to tell them. The woodshed was not allowed, so of course she didn't want to shed any light on that. She now had a great secret hiding place that she enjoyed keeping to herself. Woola wouldn't tell about the woodshed, no matter how often her brothers asked her. Whenever she was upset and felt like crying, she hid in there until she felt better. At other times, Woola just enjoyed the smell of the wood and the earth and having her own private place to herself. She really enjoyed going in there when it rained, as she could hear the noisy rain falling on the iron roof. It was very loud, but somehow comforting. Mothers can't watch their children 24/7, and it was lucky that Woola didn't get hurt in the woodshed when a wall of wood fell around her. She jumped out of the way, only squashing her shoe. Another game the kids played was Find the Treasure. Some other boys in the neighbourhood had showed it to them. Peter and Bob were keen to play it again, so they explained it to Jimmy, Woola, and to Peggy and her brothers. That means there were 7 kids playing. The game was very exciting and took a lot of time to play. There had to be 2 teams, a prize, and a time limit. The seeking team had to stay at home for 15 minutes and not look outside. They had to be honest, which didn't always work very well. Then the other team used a piece of chalk to draw arrows in difficult-to-find places. When the seeking team found the arrows, they would follow them to find the treasure, which was usually a block of chocolate. The game took the kids about 1 kilometre or so around the block of their houses. And could last a couple of hours. It was very exciting, and Prince, the family dog, usually came along too. Sometimes he found the other team. If the seeking team was good at finding the arrows and see the other team, they all had to run back home because the first team back were the winners. But it was a bit difficult for the whole of one team to return home before the other team, as the littler children couldn't run very fast. If, however, the seeking team could not find the treasure, then the other team ate it themselves. That happened a lot.